And with that out of the way, let's talk about main topic number 2. And the second main topic is about something that we've never talked about on this channel before, but I think it's actually kind of good for everyone. Now, here's the thing. I mentioned like a couple months ago that I have gotten off Facebook. I got off Facebook because I was really, frankly, that's true toxicity. When you get on social media just brings out the worst in people. Nobody wants to share how good their day is. Nobody wants to share what their daily routine looks like. No one wants to say, I talked to my mom and it was great. They want to complain about Trump, or they want to complain about masks, or they want to complain about the police, or something like that. And it just got annoying. Interestingly, I'm still on Twitter because Twitter is still an effective way to share my videos and articles. And I do find myself on Twitter more and more. And the more I find myself on Twitter, the more I'm like, maybe I should not be doing this. And after reading this article, I will probably not be deleting Twitter, but I won't be spending time on it anymore. And it says this: doom scrolling is slowly eroding your mental health. Now, what is doom scrolling? Well, doom scrolling, from what I understand, it's like a new term, because we have like a new term for things now, is basically you're staying up late at night and you're looking through your Twitter feed or your Facebook feed, whatever it is, and you're just reading whatever's trending. And by the way, if it's trending, it's not trending because it's a good thing. It's trending because it's a bad thing. And you're just reading, bad tweet after bad status update, after bad tweet, after bad article, after scary headline, and you're just reading people's fear, and you're in turn internalizing that fear. And you read more and more because you are scared of the doomsday. Now, this is actually not something new. This is actually fairly common. This has been around for a long time because it was under a different name, but back in 2001, when the World Trade Center was attacked by terrorists and fell, there were a lot of people, especially those with 24-hour news stations, who would just sit on the couch and watch the news all day. They were looking for the next piece of information. Here's what they're doing. They're looking for comfort. They're looking for comfort that things are going to get better. And spoiler alert, it will get better. Things will always get better. Because eventually we stop getting pissed off at one another. We talk to each other and we help each other out. That's what happens. But during the heat of the moment, it's scary. And people were lying on the couches and just feeding their fear. They're just feeding their fear. South Park, when they came back after 9/11, they came back and they made like a bombastic satire of, Afghanistan and Osama bin Laden, and they commented on how the kids' parents were sitting at home watching CNN all day, basically feeding into their fear and paralyzing themselves from the rest of the world. And how unhealthy that was. It's one of the reasons why, I tell people, including my parents, by the way, like, stop watching the news. Seriously, stop watching the news. It's not helping you anymore. All you do is you get more and more upset and you become more fearful. Well, this also happens with Twitter and Facebook. And so it's a new thing called doom scrolling. And here's what Arc Technica wrote about it. It's 11:37 p.m. and the pattern shows no signs of shifting. At 1:12 a.m., it's more the same. Thumb down, thumb up, Twitter, Instagram, and if you're feeling particularly wrong, masochistic, Facebook. I like how they add especially if you're feeling particularly wrong and masochistic, Facebook. Ever since the COVID-19 pandemic left a great many people locked down their homes in early March, the evening ritual has been codifying. Each night ends the way the day began, in an endless scroll through social media in a desperate search for clarity. To those who become purveyors of the perverse exercise, like the New York Times' Kevin Roose, this habit has become known as doom surfing, or falling into deep, morbid rabbit holes filled with coronavirus content, agitating myself to the point of physical discomfort, erasing any hope of a good night's sleep. For those who prefer their despair to be portable, the term is doom scrolling. And as protests over racial injustice and police brutality following the death of George Floyd have joined the COVID-19 crisis in the news cycle, it's only gotten more intense. The constant stream of news and social media never ends. So now here's something where it got personal for me. For years, people have questioned the net benefits of platforms like Twitter and Facebook, and while some studies have found social media, when used responsibly, can have positive effects on mental health, it can also lead to anxiety and depression, or at the bare minimum, FOMO. And that's just the result of looking at too many brunch photos or links to celebrity gossip. Add in a global pandemic and civil unrest, and the possibility that social media networks are incentivized to push trending topics into your feed, and the problems intensifies. Quote, in a situation like that, we engage in these more narrow, immediate survival-oriented behaviors. We're in fight or flight mode. Combine that with the fact that socially, many of us are not going into work and standing around the coffee maker engaging in collective sense-making, and the result is we don't have a lot of those social resources available in the same way, says Ellison. So this whole article is very fascinating. Hey, I'm going to read the end for you real quick. At the same time, it doesn't have to. Doom scrolling will never actually stop the doom itself. Feeling informed can be a salve, but being overwhelmed by tragedy serves no purpose. The burnout and a decline in mental health among the people whose level-headedness is needed most, that means you, dear reader. Amidst all the pain, isolation, and destruction of the past 6 months, it's not worth it to add on to the strain with 2 hours of excess Twitter every night. Perhaps now just needs to be the end times for your timeline. So that's kind of my I don't here's kind of why I'm bringing this up. I kind of did not realize I was doing this a lot in my own home. Like I said, I got off Facebook quite a while ago and I have felt immensely better. However, I am using Twitter more. And right now, what's going on Twitter is cancel culture. We might even be talking a little bit about cancel culture in one of today's topics. And the more of it that I watch, or not watch, I read, the less happy it makes me, and the more I realize this isn't healthy. You know, it's not healthy to just be watching people screaming angrily at their keyboards, and they're just so upset at everything in the world, and they can't help themselves, and they don't want to hear that maybe it's not as bad as it is. And I realize it's like, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that anymore. I want to have my good night's sleep. You know, I have a friend who got really sick one time. He got cancer. And I won't reveal his name. Thankfully, he survived. But you know one of the first things he did when he found out he was sick with cancer? Most people, their response is to start reading up on cancer, the survival rates, things like that. He went to IMDb. He went to the list of the greatest 100 comedies of all time. This was obviously years ago, by the way, because this was when Netflix was still a fairly new thing. And he printed out the list. He crossed off the ones that he had seen. And he handed the list to his wife, and he said, go to the Blockbuster and Hollywood Videos and rent as many of these titles as possible. And what's he going to do? He's going to laugh. And he spent the next week or two laughing as hysterically as he could. And he felt so much better afterwards. And I kind of wonder, why aren't we like that? I mean, we have streaming, for God's sakes. We have Netflix, Hulu, although, Hulu, we have so many of these sites that stream really funny comedy and good and feel-good stuff straight into our homes. Why are we spending our time on Twitter and Facebook and even YouTube to a certain extent with the fear-mongering going on? Why aren't we watching Parks and Recreation? Why aren't we watching The Simpsons? Why aren't we watching I Love Lucy? Why aren't we watching stuff that makes us laugh, that makes us feel good? Instead, we're on Twitter every night looking at all of these super negative things, and we're just internalizing the problem. So the point of this section right here is that doom scrolling is a real thing. And I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because I didn't realize I was doing it in my personal life. And now that I am aware, I know I have to stop. I have to stop. I will be so much better if I stop. I think you'll be a little bit happier too, if we're being perfectly honest. But I would like to know what your thoughts on this are. Do you think you are a doom scroller? Like, if you do this, does it actually make you feel good? If yes, why? If no, why not? I would love to know what your thoughts on this are, so you know the drill. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.